choice. Some games provide the illusion of it. Deus Ex Human Revolution doesn't just pretend to give you options, it showers you with them and lets you tackle problems as you see fit. If you play the original Deus Ex or even its sequel, Invisible War, then this is not much of a surprise. Human Revolution's finest asset is how it allows you to approach your objectives in a number of different ways. Let's say you need to get into a guarded apartment building. You can choose to blast your way in. You can commit silent murder as you inch your way forward. Or perhaps you can find an open window, discover a vent that leads inside, or hack an unguarded doorway. At times you might be in awe of how much flexibility Human Revolution provides. With that said, Human Revolution doesn't do any one element better than other games.
What's good, man?
In fact, few of those elements are best in class. Mediocre AI and other problems ruin the suspension of disbelief whether you go in guns a-blazing or get sneaky. Boss fights are a particular drag, in part because they remove the element of choice and force you to play the game as a shooter. Indeed, you could nitpick a number of clear flaws in Deus Ex Human Revolution, both in the gameplay and in the presentation. But taken in as a whole package, this globe-trotting action, stealth, espionage, role-playing hybrid is enthralling and occasionally explosive. Its conspiracy-laden vision of the future is disturbing, in part because that vision is grounded enough in reality to feel authentic. In Deus Ex Human Revolution, you are Adam Jensen, a security expert for Seraph Industries. The year is 2027, and human augmentation technology has changed the face of the planet. Seraph is one of several corporations that researches and manufactures this technology. Such augmentations enhance users' lungs, brains, legs, almost anything that's natural can be improved upon. The Seraph facility is infiltrated by super soldiers that steal important data and apparently kill a number of scientists researching a new and important tech. And thus begins your search for the truth, which sends you to Shanghai, Montreal, and other areas, in addition to your home city of Detroit. The story is slow to get moving, but once it does, it's hard not to get lost in it. Human Revolution explores the incestuous relationships between government, corporate interests, and the media. You find electronic newspapers with headlines that refer to your own actions, and even acknowledge how you completed a mission. Emails and data logs drop tantalizing hints. Some of them shed light on the world around you, and others give you a greater insight into your own past. The areas you explore aren't enormous, and smallish regions are separated by long loading times, nor is the game pushing the limits of modern technology, regardless of which platform you choose. Stiff facial animations, occasional frame rate dips in the console versions, and other visual blemishes can be distracting. But even with its obvious visual limitations, Human Revolution does a wonderful job of creating a tense and futuristic atmosphere. The color palette relies heavily on black and gold. The webbing that stretches across a nightclub's yellow neon exterior is visually striking and relevant to the name of the club, the Hive. But it's also reminiscent of our own cells, thematically connecting this interesting place with the game's central story. Smoke rises from sewer drains and hobos huddle around fires for warmth. In the world of Deus Ex, some people think augmentations will usher us into the next phase of evolution. Others think they're a threat to our very existence. And the atmosphere does a creditable job of creating a world in which such ideological differences thrive.
What the hell was that?
Whether Human Revolution is a shooter, a stealth game, an espionage game, or a combination of the above depends solely on how you wish to play. You earn praxis points as you go, which allows you to purchase new augmentations that further complement your style. So let's say you prefer to do your talking with a shotgun or a combat rifle. In that case, you can spend points on reducing recoil, enhancing your armor, and increasing inventory space so you can hold more ammo. Played this way, Human Revolution is mostly a cover shooter, best when you snap behind a wall or pillar and peek out to shoot. But perhaps instead you like to be sneaky. In that case, you might spend praxis points so that you can cloak yourself, see enemies' sight cones, or mark them so that you can keep tabs on them. From a stealth perspective, the game plays similarly to Splinter Cell Conviction. You crouch behind cover and tumble into new safe spots while inching along, perhaps performing a silent takedown. Takedowns can be either lethal or non-lethal, although as a rule, you earn more experience when leaving your targets alive. Either way, takedowns trigger dramatic canned animations. Sometimes they look wonderfully intense. Other times, your target will clip into the wall, or nearby enemies will appear frozen in space, which makes these moments look more bizarre than exciting. But stealthily is the most challenging way to play Human Revolution. It's fulfilling to sneak your way past security drones, turrets, and roaming forces, and slip your way into a key area unnoticed. You also spend points on other skills, some more helpful than others. One of them allows you to punch through walls at predetermined points, opening up new entrances or leading you to hidden ammo stashes. Another lets you float down from rooftops like an angel. And some skills support two other important areas, speech and hacking. Should you purchase the right augmentation, you can convince certain characters to give you access to certain areas or offer further information. A meter on the screen lets you know how convincing you are. A window gives you a rundown of the character's personality traits, and you can even release a pheromone that gives you access to new dialogue options. The lock hacking is complex compared to games like Mass Effect, and when hacking, you can earn extra experience, currency, or programs that make you more successful when hacking. All these options lead to a very ambitious game that grabs you and keeps you guessing. And like many ambitious games, some individual elements aren't as good as they should have been. The AI has problems, most noticeably when you're shooting. Enemies might stand there and not react as you shoot them, or they might run around in odd ways as if trying to find a cover spot, but never stumbling upon a good one. Almost every citizen in the game has a quip to share, but you might hear the same voice samples coming from different folks, sometimes standing close to each other.
Talks all over the office, Mr. J. Talks all over the office, Mr. J. You really took care of those purity first, asshole. Talks all over the office, Mr. J.
And it's sometimes disconcerting how you can use people's computers or loot their storerooms right in front of them and have them not react. Those things stand out because the game works so hard to be otherwise believable. And in certain cases, Human Revolution takes away your freedom to choose and forces you into a very specific style. This occurs during side missions, for example, that force you to hack. If you've been focusing in other areas, you may have to go back later or just skip the mission entirely. On the flip side, most of the boss battles turn the game into a pure shooter. That can be frustrating if you've been sneaking and hacking until then and haven't bought the proper augmentations. And even if you are well equipped, the bosses are tedious and frustrating. In a game about choice, these forced confrontations just don't belong. But these are the pitfalls of a game that does so much, and does so much of it really well. There's secrets to uncover almost everywhere. Looting a dead body might reveal a security code. In this way, you can get past a lock that you can't hack because your level isn't high enough. You might stumble across a powerful laser rifle after punching through a wall. You discover weapons upgrades that improve damage. All this while you help a grieving mother come to grips with her loss, save a prostitute from a life-changing augmentation, and bring public shame to a cowardly murderer. It could take you a couple dozen hours to see this conspiracy to the end. And because you can influence the direction of certain story elements and conquer your assignments in so many ways, Deus Ex Human Revolution invites replay. This is a great prequel to the original Deus Ex, and it's a great game in its own right. 8.5.